Are we live? Let's see. Using some new firmware, or software here, I should say. Firmware. Alright. Looks like we are live. So what we're going to be going over today is the new EZ Firmware, which is actually a website. And what this website does is allows you to compile the firmware for your EZBoard. It's currently only supporting the EZBoard at this time. That's all that's supported in our Marlin 2.0 branch. And then we will eventually move to supporting other machines, such as the stock printer boards that you'll find that we support in our other Marlin branch that's based on 119. And Jim from the Edge of Tech actually just did a video on this tool. And this tool is in beta, so there could be some bugs. I'm just saying that right now. But I want to show you guys what we have so far. And I apologize if there's more background noise than normal. I am using a new program here called XSplit instead of the normal one we use. That is... what do we use? Streamlabs OBS is what we usually use. So I'm going to pull up over here. The website is EZFirmware.th3dstudio.com, and you can use it in one or two ways. So if you already haven't uploaded, well, sorry, if I'm talking a little weird, it's because I can hear myself in my headphones. I have it set up a little differently this time. Anyways, I digress. So you can either upload your configuration.h file. You can click that, hit browse. And then I have an actual configuration here. And I'm just going to tag this as live stream test. And hit upload. So now this has put that upload into the queue. And what it's going to do is go ahead and compile that firmware. It'll queue it up into our server. And you can see right here it's compiling. Now another one you can do is our online editor. Now we can do here, I'm going to do online live stream example. So this is what you use to identify your actual firmware so you can come back and find it. So you can go ahead and set this up. Now if you look, this is the exact configuration H file you're already used to dealing with. The difference is this is going to have our server compile it for you. So you don't need to download and set up Platform.io, Atom, VS Code, whatever you're using. So just for example, let's say I have an Ender 3. And I'm using our filament sensor. And I've got my EZABL mounted with my OEM mount. And what else? Let's say, let's give it a custom name. So I want to call this Tim's printer. So I'm going to go ahead and use our custom name option here. Tim's printer. And I'm going to hit submit. And you can see it's put into the queue now. Now, the compile will take anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes. And you can see here, this is in compiling status. And you can see when it was created, when it started, and then the task ID. So you can see here, status will be refreshed every 30 seconds. Compile time is about 3 minutes. Now, we could increase the compile time, but that would involve us getting a beefier server. This is running on a completely separate server from our website. So there's no customer information on this server. The only information is what you put into the configuration file, which is why it's very open. We may put in some authentication system later on, but for right now, during the beta portion, this is how it's functioning. So if I go back here, you can see this is still in compiling. You can also go and see, like here's a failed one. So you can see here failed, check the logs below for error messages. So let's see why this guy's compile failed. So I'm opening the Platform.io log, and open on another stream, and the Platform.io log isn't that helpful. The firmware log will usually give us a little more insight. So this person looks like they forgot to uncomment their printer. So either that or they uploaded a spam file. So I'm going to go ahead and see what that configuration H looks like. It is not a spam file. It looks like they just didn't uncomment any printer, which would make it fail. So you have all the information here. So if your compile does fail, you can actually see why it failed instead of just wondering. So this should be done any minute now. It's been about 2 minutes now since it actually started to compile, so that should be done any minute now. But here we can see here's another guy. He tagged his Papa TE3P, and if you want to see the configuration file, you can go ahead and do that. So just keep in mind, anything you put into the configuration file can be seen by anybody else. The interesting thing is he did put a custom name, but he didn't uncomment it, so this is not going to get put into his firmware. But you can actually download this config file and re-upload it to be recompiled. So here we go, success, live stream test. I can download my firmware.bin, and now it's saved on my computer. So I can put this firmware.bin, you can see my browser put a little parentheses because I've got a couple of these in my download folder from testing. And then what's going to happen is you just put this firmware file, make sure it's named firmware.bin, into your SD card with the printer powered off, turn it on, and then the board will automatically pull in the new firmware. So if you're using our EZBoard, this is how simple it gets. There's no need to download our huge firmware pack. There's no need to download anything else. That's it. You can just do it all online. I mean, hell, if you've got a micro SD reader on your cell phone, you could actually compile your firmware on your cell phone, download the firmware file from our site, and do it without a computer. You can actually update your firmware on your EZBoard without even a computer. So if you've got a tablet, a smartphone, anything with a web browser that has internet access, you can actually flash your board without a computer. And I think this is really good because I saw some people having issues with their computers where they couldn't compile the firmware for some reason. And the reality is that it's something on their computer side. I wish I could help every single person with fixing whatever issue on their computer is causing it, from preventing them from actually being able to compile or install Platform.io or Atom, etc. But the reality is that's not something we do here, and that's not something I'm comfortable doing, because if we go and try to fix someone's computer and end up breaking something, then, you know, we could be potentially on the hook for that. This completely removes that variable. Oh, you're having an issue compiling? Head over to the EZ Firmware site and have our server compile it. I know our server's set up correctly. I know it pops out firmware that works. So it can't get any easier than this. You can see here, this other live stream example is in a compiling status. And if I refresh this, probably in about, I don't know, a minute or so, it'll probably go to success. So if you do get a failed one for some here, let's see why Jim's failed. Well, let's look at our firmware log. That's usually the one you want to look at. So no printer uncommented. So let's see. I'm willing to bet Jim forgot to uncomment his printer. He did. And that's why that compile failed. So you can actually go and see by looking at the error logs why the compile failed. So you're not just getting a failed message with no information. It's very streamlined. It's very easy to use. And like I said, this one here should be done any second. It says, so our server pulls and sees if the compile task in the background is done. And then once it's done, it'll put it to a success status. So it does take a couple of minutes. What'll happen is eventually, if people are using this more, we will bump our server up to a higher level server, because this is running on VPS right now, and this is costing us money every month to run this. So, but I feel this is a valuable thing to have for our customers to give them a better experience with our product. You know, like I said, we didn't have to do something like this, but we did this to make this easier for our customers. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. I am gonna pop on another live stream after I end this one, but I want to just do a quick rundown on this. And this tool will change, so there will be updates, there will be different things added to it, but right now this works great for the EZBoard. It takes all the complex steps out of it that people were having in terms of actually compiling it. So I don't know how much easier we can make this. No no pun intended. But here, you see my online live stream. So this was used with the online editor. You can see here, I got my firmware.bin, and I can even be like, oh, what did I put in this? Oh yeah, I uncommented all this stuff. So there we go, Tim's printer. And let's see, here's one in the queue here. What configuration H did they put in here? Let's see. Well, that compile is going to fail. I can tell you that right now, because you forgot to uncomment your printer. So anyways, I hope you guys think this is really cool too. Yeah, can't talk. It's weird talking because the voice coming through my headphones is on a slight delay, so it's throwing me off. But I'm going to pop on another live stream after this, and I'll show you guys why I'm wearing headphones, because it's a really fun and cool tool why I'm using headphones now when I'm streaming here. So you can see that one failed. No one uncommented everything. Let's see in the comments here. What's the website address? EZFirmware.th3dstudio.com. EZFirmware.th3dstudio.com. That'll take you right to the site. And let's see. Rob Sherman says, that's pretty cool. Maybe consider trying the uploaded file to the user session so you don't see other people's configuration. I will eventually get some sort of authentication and user session integrated, but right now we wanted to get this live and get people testing it and using it to see if there's any other issues we need to fix and address before we can actually start focusing on other nice to have features. But the reality is there's really nothing confidential aside from a potential printer name that'd be going into these configurations. And I mean, personally, like, who cares if you see Jim's Ender 3? Like, it's not a big concern. So I do have a roadmap and other tasks of what we're going to be adding to this, such as, you know, CAPTCHA for uploads, that kind of stuff, just to prevent spam. I did see someone had uploaded a Word document for some reason to try to compile, so sanitizing that input would be good. But the reality is we have snapshots. If someone crashes a server or hacks it, this server is completely isolated on a completely different hosting company from our website that holds our customer information. So if someone breaks it, they just break the EZ Firmware website. That's it. And we've got backups and snapshots of that I can restore in about 10 seconds. So I'm going to wrap this stream up. I hope you guys enjoyed this little rundown here. So those of you asking about the EZBoards, we are still on track, it looks like, for 926 for us to be getting the next batch in. I do know there's, I think, around 80 on back order, and we got 200 something coming in. So I'm going to type the address in the bar here, and then I will put it in the chat, or in, not the chat, but the description too. So thanks for dropping by, and I hope this tool makes your guys' lives easier. Take it easy.